So you've got Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump. They are meeting in the Oval. They'll have a press conference, going to absolutely talk about that. You have Trump meeting with Democrats about avoiding a shutdown, but I don't know why he's meeting with them. They need him, which is a whole thing. And then Ariana Grande is yelling at you because, it's 2025, and why shouldn't she? Why couldn't she just take all the money and be happy? Nope. Yelling at you is what's key. And then the shooting in Michigan, the shooting in North Carolina, we need motives. Don't just tell me you have two former military members just shooting at people and setting churches on fire just because. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. Grab a cigar. Let's begin. Motive is necessary. You can't tell me that a guy shoots at members of a church after driving his truck into the church and engages setting the church on fire. The shootings killed 2. The fire killed 2. And there's no motive. Can't have that. Can't abide that. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. 833-468-8669. 833. Got Tony. The chat room is asking the question, can we talk about Dearborn, Michigan? That seems to think in many, many ways that, sure, we could be an Islamist city. What are you going to do about it? Well, I think there's a great number of things that we can do about it because every citizen of the United States is guaranteed a republic form of government as per Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution. And if anybody wants to find out whether or not the Constitution rides supreme to the Quran in the United States of America, allow me to provide the answer. The answer is yes. And if we have to show so with force, we should. But that isn't our subject right now. Our subject is what the bloody heck happened in this shooting. Why in the world did this guy in Michigan, why did he drive his truck through this church? 40-year-old, the name is out there, but we don't give names here, drove his vehicle into the front of a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so Mormon. Opened fire on the people who were there. There was a shootout with law enforcement who showed up some 30 seconds after they were notified. It was pretty incredible. I'm, to an extent, surprised there was nobody there who was armed. You know how I feel about this. You must be armed at your place of worship at all times. There is no question. There is no debate here. You must be armed at all times in your place of worship. If you are not, if you've got a pastor who says no, if you've got a priest or a rabbi, everybody's like, no, you don't have weapons here, fire that pastor, priest, or rabbi. Quit. Go somewhere else. But what's going to stop somebody from driving their car through? And it's this pickup truck, and there are 2 American flags sticking out the back. You're like, what is this? And then you learn that the suspect was in the Marines. And you're like, okay, now I'm even more lost. What is going on here? Now, I know what the trolls say. Being people who are indecent, they'll say, oh, look what MAGA did. I have no idea about anything yet. Can we find out? We knew things about the assassin of Charlie Kirk. We knew things about Nashville. We knew things about the school there, the Catholic school in Minnesota. I got nothing here. Except the guy set a church on fire. I don't know why we don't have more information. I'm annoyed by the fact that we don't have more information. We have to have more information. Now, within this story, there is a whole host of conversations regarding what it is people report and what it is people don't and why. I have no interest in anybody not reporting the full story here. Just like the shooting in North Carolina. And you're like, I'm sorry, North Carolina. Maybe some people didn't find out about the North Carolina story. In North Carolina, you have got a guy who was on his boat going past a dockside restaurant, started firing on the crowd in the restaurant. 3 people dead, 8 people injured. This guy starts going through the intercoastals. It takes the Coast Guard to find him. This guy also, former military. That's at least the reporting. Could it change? Well, of course, anything could change. Will it change? I have absolutely, positively no idea. What is happening here? Why is this taking place? Well, Tony, it's because we have guns. It is not because we have guns. We have had guns. This is something else. What is this thing? And are we a society willing to ask ourselves and speak out loud about it? What is going on here? Why is this happening? For what reason does somebody just start shooting at a restaurant? For what reason does someone drive through a church? I don't have answers. I do know that we have to ask the question right. And I do know that we simply cannot go without information. There are times where information is not forthcoming. There are times when it is kept from us. And we have seen this happen. And certainly we need more and more not to allow it. I cannot tell you what happened. Was it the Route 91 Harvest Festival in Las Vegas? I have no idea what happened. I have absolutely no idea what happened here. How did this guy get to that floor of the MGM? How did he get the guns in? How did he kill so many people? How is it possible that we have such little information? I don't know, but I know this. That dog won't hunt. This doesn't work. I have seen, like you have seen, transgender shooters, and they've left information. They've left notes, what they call manifestos. Everything's a manifesto. Oh, you can't read that. It might lead to more violence. Stop it. I want to know what's going on. We all need to know what's going on. We need to be able to say clearly, here's what happened. These two things are not different. I don't even know how to speculate. We've got 2 members of the military. At least that's what the reporting is. Someone's going to tell me what? PTSD? Someone's going to tell me that it's political. It's not political. There was a girlfriend inside each place. I don't have an answer. Am I going to listen to the people who are going to say to me, MAGA? I have no idea who these guys are. They had American flags on the back of the truck that ran into the church. What do you want me to do with that information? If you want to make a guess out of that, you can, but I don't have the story. I don't have what this guy was watching online. I don't have an idea of this guy's family. I don't have anything. But no matter what the story is, we got to be able to talk about it. That other people want to use things politically, pay them no mind. Our job is to ask what is happening here and why is it happening? Why is it happening? And if the answer from some people is, well, you see, the problem is guns, the problem is not guns. Law-abiding gun owners all across the country not engaged in this, not engaged in this. Some people aren't going to want to talk about this because what? There's a military story. This guy for the church shooting was in the Marines, 2004 to 2008, automotive mechanic, vehicle recovery operator. Deployed to Iraq from August 2007 through March 2008. He was a sergeant. I don't know. But answers are necessary. And they need to come very, very soon. These are not things that could be just left to disappear as if it never happened. It very much happened. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Guys, good to be with you. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. I'm not going to lie. I had rice for lunch. I don't think I should do that anymore. It's a weird thing to talk about, but I care. And I feel like being honest at all times. So there it is. Oh, my hair's doing something right there. I don't know. Stop that. That's ridiculous. Your comments, appreciate them. So the idea of greater accountability, Steve, we deserve answers, not sentences, acts of harm, and greater responsibility. And great accountability from whom? So if you're saying that as we need an answer to what happened here, I agree. If you're saying that as, well, we need more legislation, see the difference? I mean, that's the best way I can answer the question. And yes, carbs for lunch are bad. It was a bad idea. I made a mistake, all right? Enough with your hatred and your bigotry. Thank you. And Claudia, I saw that from the Anti-Defamation League. Can you send me the link, if you would? I was talking about the other stuff. I didn't know if I was going to get to that or not. The ADL is ridiculous. They're an embarrassing leftist organization. If you think Turning Point's a hate group, you're a psychopath. And ADL is not an organization to which is going to get any of my respect or any of my love. But if you've got a link, send it my way. And I do have the Ariana Grande story. I said I was going to get to that. I'm going to do that right there. And and then there's the Telegraph. I have a theory about why they're doing this. I have a whole theory about that, but we'll get to that in a moment. All right, let's get back to the radio show, shall we? Yes, we shall.
You're getting rid of $5.5 million to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex advocacy in Uganda.
I'm sorry. Did you think I could make that up? That is Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana reading where some money's going. Now, producer Landon, finger on the dump button, just in case. No missing it.
You're getting rid of $5.5 million to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex advocacy in Uganda, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
I can't believe we're arguing about this.
He's right. I was talking to Russell Vogt of the Office of Management and Budget. We're supposed to be getting rid of this. This is good. There is no argument. That is absolutely correct, Senator Kennedy. There is no argument. We're supposed to get rid of funding those things. We're supposed to say that's not where our money goes. And who doesn't love Senator John Kennedy? I mean, the guy is a national treasure. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything over at TonyKatz.com. Ariana Grande decided to, decided to get political. I don't know if she does or if she doesn't. The singer or the actress, who I will admit, producer Landon, you cover more of these things than I do. Did she have plastic surgery? She's always been very, very thin and very frail and too thin, but that's a personal thing, right? Maybe not unhealthy. I don't know. I'm not her doctor. But as of late, since she started doing Wicked, as Glinda, the good witch. Something about her face is off and awkward. And I mean, people do this. Who was the chick from Mean Girls? Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan ruined her face. Her face was fine. So is the rest of her. Very attractive. I don't know what she did. I don't know why she did it. Just stop. Stop messing with your face, ladies. Leave it alone. Well, she posted on, is this on Instagram? Yeah. She reshared a post on Instagram. And the post was, I wanted to check in with Trump voters. I have one very genuine question. Ooh, it's a genuine question. Sure. And who is the guy who posted this? Matt Bernstein, who does a podcast called A Bit Fruity. Okay. Have a podcast, we'll travel. Here's what it is. It's been 250 days. Now that immigrants have been violently torn from their families and communities have been destroyed, now that trans people have been blamed for virtually everything and live in fear, now that free speech is on the brink of collapse for all of us, for us all, he writes, has your life gotten better? Have your groceries gotten cheaper? Has your health insurance in premium gone down? Has your work-life balance improved? Can you take a vacation yet? Are you happier? Has the widespread suffering of others paid off for you in the way he promised it would, or are you still waiting? I mean, this is it right here. This is that post that he put up. And he wrote a genuine question, hoping this post finds people who can provide genuine answers. Well, Matt, my name's Tony Katz. Hey, how are you? I host a podcast and radio show called Eat, Drink, Smoke. So in addition to radio, there is podcasting. And of course, this show you can get via podcast. A lot of broadcasting. We have that in common. I don't know how much broadcasting you do. I probably do more on a daily basis. I do 6 hours at least a day. Maybe you do more. That'd be very interesting to me. Allow me to try and answer the question for you. First, I want to be clear that you started with something that is not true. And if you're going to ask a genuine question, let's make sure we're always engaged factually. Now that immigrants have been violently torn from their families, you mean illegal immigrants? It is imperative that we speak honestly and clearly, Matt. Otherwise, we can't have a conversation. You mean illegal immigrants have been removed from the United States, who should not be here, people who have broken the law. If someone had evaded their taxes and the IRS arrested them in front of their kids, would you feel this way? Or are you making a statement of to be grandiose, to be bombastic, to more drive home your point? The problem is it's not factual. Communities have been destroyed. With all due respect, I want you to point me to the community that has been destroyed. If you point me to the person who is in the country illegally who has been removed, that is not a community destroyed. And what community are you referring to? Are you referring to something where there's an actual landmass? Matt, are we talking about a specific area and place? Or are we talking about a feeling, a community of people? And which one is it? You continue, now that trans people have been blamed for virtually everything and live in fear. With all due respect, there are a lot of videos out there. Doesn't seem that anybody's really living in fear. But we should go back to blame for virtually everything. No one has said, man, this economy, thanks, trans people. That hasn't happened. Matt, I'm telling you that what you just said there, what you wrote is not true. That's not factual. There are trans people who have been involved in shootings, in the murder of children and others, and we should address this. And there have been people, grown-ups, who have been trying to push children into transgenderism and push them into mutilation. That's wrong, Matt. It's wrong. And if you're asking us as a society to accept it, the answer is no. No, it's worth fighting for. These are our kids and you can't abuse them. Please do not think that gender affirming care is a real thing. That's, again, a misnomer. That is a code word for abuse. And I doubt very highly, Matt, not knowing you at all, that you would ever be okay, with the abuse of children. Now that free speech is on the brink of collapse for us all, with all due respect, Matt, you wrote this and nobody's going to come to your home. I speak every day, and I have seen people like me get shot at through the neck. For whom is the free speech in question? My friends want to know if I wear a bulletproof vest out of the house. My wife is also curious to get an answer to that question. I had to tell my home radio station that I no longer do live events without armed security present. What free speech are you referring to? Since Elon Musk bought Twitter, I'm much more able to communicate openly and honestly. And so, by the way, are you, Matt? Nothing has stopped Ariana Grande. Nothing has stopped you from engaging. Nothing has stopped the NFL from continuing to do all of their woke stuff. Nothing has stopped anyone. Some people who cheered the death of Charlie Kirk faced retribution from their bosses because it looked bad upon their business. I don't think one should cheer murder. That is far different than whether or not free speech is under assault. And Jimmy Kimmel? Not only does Jimmy Kimmel have his job where he's making millions and he gets summers off, but both Sinclair and Nexstar are now carrying the show again. Matt, what are you referring to here? And I went on to answer the question about groceries and health insurance premiums and work-life balance and vacation. But the question is, are you happier? And the answer is, Matt, I truly believe we are on a much better path than we were with Joe Biden. I believe I can prove that. Is everything perfect? Absolutely not. Am I still waiting? I don't know. We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, something tells me a bunch of us are still waiting. But we certainly can't get there, Matt, if we're going to agree with you when you were not honest about what it is you were asking the quote-unquote questions about or setting up the statement about. But if you want to talk about it, Matt, I'm right here. Your podcast, this radio show, I don't know you at all. But you brought it up, and I'm happy to keep talking about it. This is Tony Katz Today. You think he'll call? I don't know the dude. I have no idea who he is. Right? He's got 1.9 million followers. Oh, and we're going to disagree about Israel. Friendly queer Jew with very long nails. Okay. 1.9 million followers. Guy's got to be making money, right? Yeah, this is a lot of stuff going on here, Matt, but I'd have the conversation with him. I'm assuming they're acrylic nails. I don't know. Maybe they're real. Maybe you grew them out. I have no idea at all. Knock yourself out, man. I'm not in charge of whether or not you've got long nails, short nails, whatever. But is there any question about what I was discussing about what he said? He was missing the point, missing the boat. He wasn't hitting things accurately. He wasn't. So I said so. We'll see. See that producer Landon, that's something to post. Get my point? Throw a title card on there, the end card on there, and then bloop, right up, and then we could share that. All right, guys, what else do we have? Does Landon ever come on the screen? No. So here's the difference between. This is a question about what they do at my home station on WIBC, where everyone's in studio. We are not in studio. We have a different studio. So no, producer Landon does not come on the screen. Now, the rest of your comment, I have no idea what you're even talking about. But Landon does not come on screen. We just simply do not allow that. No. Maybe. All I know is she does look different. Okay, that's it. So it's two questions. And they do ruin it. Yeah, people ruin their look. I thought she was attractive, but I don't know. She looks much different now. Oh yeah, it's a very, very, very different between her Nickelodeon days and now. So I don't know. Oh, we're getting some information about the shooter. He had an issue with Mormons? Oh, God. Good Lord. Over at TonyKatz.com, there is a show sheet. You get that daily. What is it that is on my mind? Where do I think the top stories are? Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. So good to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. One of those top stories is this bit of horror show from the Chicago Teachers Union, where they go about saying, rest in power, rest in peace, Assata Shakur. Today, we honor the life and legacy of a revolutionary fighter, they say. A fierce writer, a revered elder of Black liberation, and a leader of freedom whose spirit continues to live in our struggle. Assata refused to be silent. She taught us that it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love each other and support each other. We have nothing to lose but our chains. They're talking about communist cop killer Assata Shakur, who died in Cuba, where she fled to after killing a New Jersey state trooper. And the Chicago's Teachers Union said, hey, let's cheer on her life and legacy. You must pull your kids out of these schools. And not every school is like that. Not every school is the same. My kids went to public school. Worked out pretty well. They did solid. But I am fully aware that so many teachers' unions and public schools are absolute disasters that breaking the union in two, breaking them in two is necessary. And there is not a teacher who's a member of this union who is worthy of being a teacher. I'd fire everybody. You cannot support communists and teach my children. Now, I have not checked every teacher my children have ever had and said, have you now or have you ever been a communist? If you want to keep that stuff quiet, you go right ahead. Well, Tony, don't they have free speech? No, not in the classroom. In the classroom, you teach math. Not in the classroom. But communists have no place in a civil society, like Islamists. No place in a civil society at all. Don't sit there and tell me that somehow I've got to, I somehow have to be nicer about that. No. Islamists are not compatible with Western civilization. Not because I say so, but because they say so. Communists are not compatible with a civil society. Not because I say so, but because they say so. And their history says it all. Their words say it all. There was a story out of Dearborn where the police chief was, well, first there was the mayor speaking to a pastor. You may have heard this one right here.
Hezbollah, bombed the embassy in Beirut, and including many Americans. So I just feel it's quite inappropriate.
You are an Islamophobe, and although you live here, I want you to know, as mayor, you are not welcome here. And the day you move out of the city will be the day that I launch a parade celebrating the fact that you moved out of the city, because you are not somebody who believes in coexistence.
That's the mayor of Dearborn saying you don't belong here. That's a mayor who needs to be removed. Well, Tony, Dearborn, it's a majority Arab city or Islamic city. I don't care. You want to have the fight? Let's have the fight. You must be compatible with Western civilization. We are guaranteed a republic form of government. And anybody who says you disagree with me, so you have to move when they're an elected official, doesn't get to be an elected official. And if Gretchen Whitmer had any stones, she would have already gone about engaging this. And then you had that, if you could find it, if someone could find it, was it the police chief talking about Allah? It was, what is happening here? But more to my point, you simply can't have this. The United States is not going the way of the United Kingdom. We're just not going to allow this to be the case. Just in the same way that we cannot allow people who support communists to have any type of wiggle room whatsoever. You're not welcome to be near our kids. You're not qualified. You're not decent enough. You're not humane enough. Cop killer Joanne Chesimard, actually Joanne Byron. That's who she is. Cop killer, murderer, and then ran away to Cuba to be protected by the commies. While everybody else starved, I guarantee you, she still got fresh fruit. And as for the Chicago Teachers Union, it is indeed imperative that the people there break this union in two or leave. Let them fail. The point of Atlas Shrugged, we all come back to Ayn Rand. The point of Atlas Shrugged is that these people need to suffer under the weight of their own disaster. My brother, the good Dr. Katz, is fond of this concept, discussing the fact that I want these people, he would say, to live under the hellscape that they actually want for the rest of us. They should have to live in this trash, in this garbage, whether it be the garbage of Zoran Mamdani or the garbage that they want in Dearborn. The problem is everybody else has to live with it too. And that's where the issue is. That's where the real problem lies. My father, rest his soul, his theory for these people who wanted to take the side of terrorists in Gaza or take the side of Islamists, his theory was Sharia for a week. My father had many a quip. Oh, don't worry. It was not an easy upbringing. Please don't ever get it twisted. But the man could turn a phrase. He had an interesting look at the world. We'll have Sharia for a week. Let everybody in Dearborn live under Sharia for a week. Let's see how it goes. You know what? Everybody in Michigan, because Gretchen Whitmer isn't doing enough. Everybody in Michigan, Sharia for a week. Let's see what happens. Let's see who wants it then. Let's see who allows it then. He was not wrong. But to speak about these things is to risk, for example, being called an Islamophobe. I'm here to tell you that being called an Islamophobe means absolutely nothing. Who cares? Who cares what the mayor of Dearborn calls me? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. It matters that from a public official, you told a resident, I want you to move, putting basically a price on his head. Because maybe somebody wants a parade because you offered an incentive. You move, I'll throw a parade. You know that means cotton candy and ice cream. What? You can have a parade without cotton candy and ice cream? I don't know about you, but I live in America. Cotton candy, ice cream. It's gotta be like a hot dog. Laura only knows what's in it. And I know it's not gonna be all beef, but still hot dogs for the people. You cannot be afraid to speak honestly about the issues. Historically, is anybody going to doubt that anywhere the Islamist has been, there has been a problem? Is anybody going to doubt that anybody who has installed or instilled in anyone or lived the life of a communist, that it has been an absolute horror show? It has been nothing but death and destruction. As a matter of fact, the only thing communism has ever inspired is a prayer for a quick and painless death. That's it. What's wrong with saying so? Why is it that the American left won't say so? This is a problem. No, instead, the American left, they engage commentaries like Neera Tanden. Neera Tanden was the Biden aide. Neera Tanden was the one who, what was the position Biden wanted to appoint her to? And they couldn't get her out of committee. That's it. Biden wanted her to be the director of Office of Management and Budget. But Joe Manchin would not vote for her because she was way too far left. She's a radical, a radical's radical. And Neera Tanden, who was part of the cabal running the country when Joe Biden wasn't, and was in charge of the auto pen, puts out a post. The post reads, the singular problem in America is the decline of character in Republican political leaders. It wasn't a Republican political leader that went out to cheer Assata Shakur. And it wasn't a Republican political leader that said to a citizen of Dearborn, you don't belong here because you're too Christian. If someone said you don't belong here because you're too Muslim, Neera Tanden would be like, how dare you? But no, her view is that the problem is Republican leaders. In prior eras, she writes, we had Republican presidents who corrupted the DOJ to attack their political enemies. But back then we had Republican leaders who stopped it because they cared about their country more than their party. This is considered a serious thought. I don't know by whom. I don't know why they consider it a serious thought. I understand how the rest of us consider it. But this is ignorance and foolhardiness. And you can't talk about DOJ attacks without talking about Joe Biden. But they do talk about DOJ attacks. And they go to Chuck Schumer and say, what about the weaponization of the Department of Justice?
He notes the fact that he was indicted by a federal grand jury. He also says he wants to let the process play out. Do you have faith in the judicial system?
I have no faith in Donald Trump's judicial system. He has turned this judicial system to be his own political fighter, do what he wants politically, so that he tells them to go after people he doesn't like. He tells them to exonerate people that he likes. So many people are getting pardoned and this and that. He has turned this Justice Department into his own political watchdog.
That, kids, is called projection. Or is it transference? Here's what we did with Biden. Now we're going to say Trump is doing that. I mean, it's easy to see through that one. Speaking clearly, speaking directly, speaking honestly matters. It matters. And I believe people do respond to it, which is why I think they respond to Trump. Even if they disagree with him, like he's just letting you know where he's at. But dear Lord, celebrating Assad Shakur, let's just start there. Can't let those people near kids. I'll start where I started. Break the teachers union in half. I'm Tony Katz. What happened to the music? Did I do something? That was weird. Hold on, wait. Well, that's my fault. For whatever reason, we weren't hearing the music, but I think you guys were. That's messed up. Usually I take a little break and I stretch. I'm like, yeah, all right. And I got to tell you, I don't think this shirt works for TV. I think I need to wear a jacket with it. I don't think I can do the whites and grays with the gray backgrounds. So I was at an art show over the weekend. I had a bunch of interesting stuff on the weekend. It was at an art show. And there's a guy selling his art, right? It was very cool. It was this, he had painted Abraham Lincoln. And it was, I want to say 5 feet by 3 feet. It was very, very cool. And I looked at this wall where I've got the comedy albums and I've got this empty space here. I'm like, I could just put it right there. Right there. It would look so good. This giant, colorful Abe Lincoln. But it was $3,500. And I said, I can find a print. 3,500 was a lot. I thought for it. But it was very cool. Very cool. If the artist thinks he can get 3,500, charge 3,500. Who am I to tell you no? But if I'm going to start paying that for art, then I'm going to go into first some people that I want to be into. Peter Max, Leroy Neiman, Chagall. Right? Because there's the art that I want that I'm never going to be able to afford. And that's Edward Hopper. Oh, so good. I like Hopper tremendously. I like Hockney quite a bit. They remind me of each other in a lot of different colors and different perspective stuff, but just there's something about the loneliness that, I don't know, it just draws me. Really does. Really and truly does. But anyway, it was very cool. Hold on. Jennifer wants me to start paying her for art. I didn't know you did art, Jennifer. You can send me some of your stuff. We'll see. We will see what we will see. And yes, there's a glare from the light I have over here on Steve Martin. That is Steve Martin right there. Steve Martin, and that's Bob Newhart, and that's Mort Saul. Now I've got some other ones that I should put down like that. I do need to put down. Yeah, it's all right though. I mean, I don't think the glare is the worst thing in the world. I don't think I have a way to get rid of it unless I move that one for another one. Right? It's just an example of the background's much better. This whole thing has worked out great, but it's not perfect. But I think maybe that's part of the charm, right? It's a little bit raw. Does it have to be perfect? Because I see some of the sets that are out there. It's like, dear Lord. Right? The fake bookcases and everything else. No, I live in this. I do this right here. And by the way, this is only a sliver. Like the main studio is all over there. Right? I've got the table, the wing backs. I have some other leather chairs. You can see when I take this off right here. Wait, hold on. Let me do that here. Like you see the brick. So that was the outside of the house right there. That was the outside. And then when I built all this and then made that the wall, because it's actually the same brick in many places that's used in the original track of the Indy 500. That's the brick company right there. So no, I wasn't taking down the brick. I wasn't covering it up. And then behind the thing here, that's a bathroom. And then the brick wall continues. So the brick is part of the bathroom. I like how it turned out. Not super fancy, but very, very solid. I like it. Are we back to the show? Oh, yeah, sure. Sounds great. So Xi Jinping is considering some concessions to put together this trade deal with Donald Trump and trying to give Trump what he wants. And the communist leader of China believes that the best way to do this is to say yes to almost anything that Trump wants if he will oppose Taiwanese independence. Well, now it's getting interesting. Tony Katz today, great to be with you. The theory is that he thinks he can get Trump for a trade deal to not get in the way of China engaging the concept of reunification. Right? China believes reunification is inevitable. Taiwan will be a part of China, no matter what, which of course means by force. Biden had said that he would support Taiwan if China tried to take it. It's the only thing Biden ever said where I was like, yeah, to me, that's the correct answer. Absolutely the correct answer. But I think it's interesting that the Wall Street Journal put together this whole story here, and there's somehow a belief that Trump would do that. Now, there are things Trump has done about China in the second term that I'm not a fan of. I thought he was much stronger on China in the first term. And I don't like the TikTok deal. And I don't like the idea of, oh, sure, 600,000 Chinese students can be in U.S. universities. No, they can't. No, they can't. No, they cannot. I don't care if these universities are getting full freight from these students. They're connected to communist China. The answer is no. Communism has to fail, and you can't give it any quarter. You can't give it a pass. And I don't like the TikTok deal. This is a very different conversation, because this would be a real change in foreign policy. And you have Taiwan Semiconductor doing massive investments in the United States. Are you willing to risk that? Xi might believe it, but I've seen nothing that shows that Trump would go for it. I think there's this weird idea that Trump can be bought. A deal can always be made, but I don't think this is a deal for Trump. This is Tony Katz today. So here's where we're at. Oh, I've got so much more stuff. Oh my gosh, I have got so much more. And we have got the press conference. So Trump and Netanyahu are supposed to have a press conference at, it's 1:15, so it's still on the schedule. So we will cover that. We will have all of that. So here's the story. The radio show is in break, so we're going to take the break. That's the why would we support a war that Taiwan couldn't win? Be like Ukraine? You have to ask yourself whether or not we're better off with Taiwan in China's hands, with Taiwan Semiconductor in China's hands. You got to ask yourself whether or not you want that. I think the answer is, nah, you don't want that. No, you do not want that. Look at this. Jennifer is a museum artist for the Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum. I didn't even know there was a Laura Ingalls Wilder Museum. All right, so now I got to see some stuff. Tony at TonyKatz.com. Send that right away. The show is in break, radio break, so we will take the break. We'll be back in a few. Guys, hang loose, smoke them if you got them, keep them here. Welcome back, Tony Katz. That is me. The show is Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. Find everything over at TonyKatz.com, as you should. Oh, I had more stuff to let's see. Is that right? Is this the right place? Am I looking in the right spot? Yeah, I think so. There it is. The newest from Flederman von Riest. You can see them right there. Fantastic people. Thrilled to be their brand ambassador. This is the new quartz chronograph. It is spectacular. A series of colors, different looks to it. And you find that over at vonriest.com. Use promo code KATZ, KATZ, with Von Riest, and you get your discount. This is actually the Munchner. This is see the small seconds right there, right there. So this is a Swiss Mechanical that they sell that I absolutely think the world of. This one's in the all black, but you can get them in a series of different colors. They have a limited edition orange, almost like a hunter's orange. Come on. Love it. Very Purdue colors here for you Indiana people. Assembled in Indiana. To your door, Von Riest, RIESTE. Go to vonriest.com. Use promo code KATZ. Get your discount. They're fantastic. They are absolutely fantastic timepieces. Love them. And the whole point and the whole purpose is something that'll last. Something that you're going to pass through the generations. Something that you're going to hand down to them, and they're going to hand down, and it's going to work, and it's going to look good. Whether you just wear it for church on Sunday, you wear it every day, makes no difference. Von Riest, RIESTE, vonriest.com, promo code KATZ. Get your discount. Come back to the radio show is what we're doing. I think we're going to talk shutdown, but maybe we'll get into this insanity from Larry Ellison. This whole concept of digital ID, it starts in the UK, where you've got Keir Starmer defending the idea of a digital ID and not sounding too rational about it at all. The idea that if there's a digital identification, well, that's really going to put a curb on hiring people who are in the country illegally.
One of our viewers got in touch and wanted us to ask this question. Russ Brown wanted us to ask you if you really believe that those profiting from human trafficking will think, oh dear, I have to check your digital ID now. I can't carry on paying you £1.50 an hour to work in my sweatshop.
I'm absolutely convinced that amongst the reasons that people travel through France, which is a safe country, to come to the United Kingdom, amongst the reasons is because it's easier to work in our illegal economy than it is in other countries. And we have to deal with it.
Bosses who are prepared to hire people illegally are not asking them for their national insurance card. So what's the evidence? What makes you think they're suddenly going to ask them for a digital ID?
We need to be really clear. You must have ID, mandatory digital ID, in order to work. Because
the foolhardy nature of this statement from the Prime Minister is the same foolhardy statement that leads to the recognition of a quote-unquote Palestinian state. Well, this is going to force Hamas, a terrorist organization, to be rational and come to the table. No, it's not. It's only going to reward terrorism. A digital ID doesn't affect the criminal element. It affects the citizenry that now has one.
Because we have to stop illegal working. If you look at any of the raids, we've massively increased the number of raids on working premises. It is absolutely clear that people are working illegally in numbers.
But why do you think that them having a digital ID, having to have a digital ID, would stop that problem when right now people are meant to have a national insurance number and card, and if they're not asked for that, a boss is willing already to break the rules? What's the difference going to be? Well,
the difference is this is on point of starting, not a retrospective exercise as it now is. It is an automatic collection of the information by the government, so we know exactly who is working in our economy.
No, It's a collecting of data to be utilized against the citizenry. That's the issue. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. 833-468-8669. 833. Got Tony. That's how you get to be a part of the program. Now, this is only one of many conversations that are going on out there. There was this from Larry Ellison, who, of course, is Oracle and the richest man in the world.
That the police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on.
When you come to government and what...
That was Larry Ellison in 2024 talking about the AI future and surveillance. He's making the argument that China, with its Chinese credit score, is accurate. Video cameras everywhere, you being watched at all times. Are you smiling enough? If you're not smiling enough, your credit score goes down. If you don't have the right credit score, you can't travel. The very idea of digital ID is so offensive to the rational person, is so insane. Of course, someone like Larry Ellison might be very well in favor of this because what cloud is going to be running all of this surveillance? Oracle's going to make a tremendous amount of money and you are going to lose your rights. Now, why is it that Larry Ellison doesn't care about such things? Well, that's worth noting. As Neil Oliver noted, you'll get used to his accent. The people who believe in a digital ID are the people who believe in an absolute slave culture and slave mentality because you are always watched. And he actually gets into some examples that we've used here on the show.
The mummy and daddy of all bait and switches comes with digital ID. The bait is the well-tried one, which is convenience, such a tasty carrot. The bright and crunchy carrot of convenience will seek to reassure you that digital ID will keep you safe and ensure your privacy. The dark side, the enemy inside the Trojan horse, is that every shred of your private data will be shared with any government agency and any so-called stakeholder that wants it. Above all else, know this. The new world into which we are sleepwalking is one of zero trust. Zero trust is not my idea. It's the official foundation of your future. Zero trust means each one of us is regarded as a criminal until we can prove otherwise by exposing every scrap of our data. We will be guilty until we prove our innocence.
Fact. I'm not super familiar with Neil, who has a show over there in Great Britain, but I've seen some of his work, and that is accurate. In a world of the digital ID, just like the digital currency that has been floated here in the United States, you are not free to live your life. Everything is watched, everything is scrutinized, and then everything becomes questioned and decided whether or not you can move forward with those movements or purchases, for your own safety.
To shop online, you'll have to use your digital ID to prove you are who you are. Just to read your email, to use online banking, even to open your computer will require your digital ID. You'll be in digital jail until you open it with your digital key. All of this can be connected to your carbon footprint and the rest of your social credit score. Make no mistake, all of it is on the Chinese model that enables the state to watch, track and record everything you do and everywhere you go. The cameras are already in place around us and in our phones and screens, alongside the microphones that can listen. All of this can be tied to a central bank digital currency, not actual money you can hide under the mattress, just a digital credit rating monitored before any and every transaction. Imagine a future where artificial intelligence watches you try and charge your electric vehicle or put fuel in your old car and decides you've already emitted too much CO2 this month. Result, no power or fuel for you. Or you try and buy a steak and the AI decides you've consumed enough environment-wrecking beef. You can't buy it.
That is not something that is in the ether. That is not slippery slope. That is exactly what will happen. Oh, you want to buy a gun? Seems you've already bought one gun this year. We're not going to let you purchase another gun. Oh, you want to buy a candy bar? Well, we've looked at your digital health records and you've got an obesity issue, so we're not going to allow that for your safety. Anybody who favors this digital world is out of their heads and dangerous. And people like Larry Ellison and people like Bill Gates and others, Keir Starmer, the prime minister, they need to be not only told that they are wrong, they need to be shown that they're wrong. We cannot vote for these things. We cannot have these things. We cannot work in places that demand these things. This is not a solid future, a valuable future, a more worthy future. This is a dangerous future that so many people, for their own profit and control, want us to step into. And the answer is no. We're not going to be doing that. We're not going to have that. And we have to fight aggressively against it. You've got President Trump. You have got the Prime Minister of Israel. They are supposed to be holding a news conference, a press conference. When they start, I will bring that to you. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. So we're keeping our eyes on it. It is scheduled for 1:15, and I'm not going to be surprised, and neither are you, that President Trump and the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, might be late to the party to get this started. But I assume with enough media watching, certainly back home as well for Netanyahu, they are 7 hours ahead. They're going to want to make this happen sooner rather than later. There is a deal that is being floated, a peace deal that I'm not so sure that the that the prime minister is going to go for. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. They could decide to do it. I've got that story. If you go to TonyKatz.com, you will see it there. A peace plan for Israel and Gaza. Just a question whether we think that's going to take place. I have that. Some more on this Michigan shooter who had an issue with Mormonism to the point that you shot two, you killed two, you set a church on fire that killed two others. That is just rough. Netanyahu is on your last nerve. He needs to go. I think that's up to the Israelis. Yeah. I don't think that's our call there, Dewey. But you've said a lot of things in the chat where you're just you hate Trump so much that it's hard to take anything else seriously, man. It is. It is. And he's on your last nerve. Okay. Netanyahu's on your last nerve. You can't say that about any other foreign leader. Kim Jong-un on your last nerve. How about the Ayatollah on your last nerve? Yes or no? Yes or no? Just curious. Just curious, like how many last nerves you've got going. Go for it there, producer Landon. Is there any belief, any faith that a peace deal can be achieved between Israel and Gaza? Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. There's a 21-point Gaza peace plan that has been revealed. Trump is putting out there. And as reported by the New York Post, it's getting rave reviews from Arab allies. Well, that might be enough for some to make them say no thanks. This got presented to allies at the United Nations when Trump was there last Tuesday, has not yet been presented to Hamas. As is reported, everybody's going to work to redevelop Gaza. There's going to be money poured into Gaza to rebuild it. Remember, Trump wanted to make it the Riviera of the Mediterranean. That was the plan. So they're going to put a bunch of money into it. All right. You want to rebuild it? Go about rebuilding it. You go right ahead. But does Hamas remain? Well, according to the plan, the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, they will engage a withdrawal from Gaza. Israel is going to release Palestinian prisoners. Okay. The hostages get returned, right? All the hostages and all the remains of the hostages get returned. That's it. Within 48 hours of the signing of any deal, all hostages, all hostage remains get returned. Israeli Defense Forces remove, pull out, Palestinian prisoners released. I'm assuming not all of them. Hamas members who agree to peacefully coexist will get amnesty. Those who want to leave will get safe passage to other countries. Oh, Lord. This is a setup, right? That's what this is. And anyone who wants to return to Gaza after leaving will be allowed to do so. I am of the belief that the purpose of this peace deal is to get the Palestinians, get Hamas to say no one more time. To show that they just won't do it. Quite literally, the president of the United States will say, here, you get to live and we'll rebuild the area. And Hamas will say, nah. Israel has to go. I mean, they've made it clear, of course, what it is they're about, what it is they're after, what it is they desire. They have been very, very clear on these things. And I don't see them accepting the deal. I'm not so sure Israelis would accept it personally, but I mean, that's up to them. This is not up to me. This is not for us to decide. We're Americans. This is just the president saying, hey, here we can, here, we're going to try one more time to go about a peace deal. Anybody who would trust Hamas is out of their head. Out of their head, out of their minds, in thinking that somehow, in any way, shape, or form, these people can be trusted. If you don't stop any level of the financing from Iran, Nothing stops. If you don't stop these Hamas leaders, to the extent any are still alive in Qatar, from financing the terror, this continues. It's not really much of an argument. This is just the way this is. This is just the way this has been going. This hasn't changed. And I don't see any way that it does. So I think that the purpose of this deal is to state quite clearly that here is Hamas given one more chance, and look how they refuse to take it. You think they're going to give back every hostage? Do we think any hostages are still alive? I mean, I want it. I want them to be alive, but I don't know. I don't have any faith in them being alive. Gosh, I hope to be wrong there. So we've got this press conference between Netanyahu and Trump that's supposed to start. It might not. We will see. And we are now seeing on this shooting in Michigan that the shooter who crashed his truck into a church, a Mormon church, started firing, killed 2, set fire to the church, 2 other people died. He got involved in a shootout with law enforcement. He was killed in the shootout. That this guy had a real problem with Mormons, referring to the religion as the Antichrist. The story goes that a guy by the name of Chris Johnson is running for a seat on the Burton City Council. It's a crazy story. Tells the Detroit Free Press back a week ago, September 22nd, canvassing, knocking on doors, and encountered this guy, this former Marine who did this to the church there. They chatted for 20 minutes. This guy talked about serving in Iraq as a Marine and struggling with drug addiction as he returned home. When he returned home, dealt with drug addiction. And according to this guy, Chris Johns, who's running for office, the conversation took a sharp turn as the subject of religious faith was brought up. This guy said he had a relationship with a woman whose family was Mormon when he lived in Utah. So the council candidate states that this guy started asking him questions about the tenets of the Mormon faith, the role Jesus plays in the religion, the history of the church, and the founder, Joseph Smith. So he's like, it seemed like very anti-Latter-day Saints, anti-Mormon talking points. It's at that moment where this guy, this suspect, who's now dead himself, considered Mormonism the Antichrist. And when this guy, Chris Johns, who's running for office, saw the photo on TV, he's like, oh my gosh, I talked to that guy. We're going to find out there was some family member or some girlfriend, ex-girlfriend who went to the church, and that's what this was all about. I don't know. We don't have any answers yet. You've got Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, discussing this, that there was indications that he, quote, hated people of the Mormon faith, which we hear from this candidate. Trump writing that this appears to be yet another targeted attack on Christians in the United States of America. This epidemic of violence in our country must end immediately. We don't often get to have a conversation like this. We've talked about it with Jews, talked about it with Christianity as a whole. Haven't discussed it with Mormonism. Levitt saying on Fox and Friends earlier today, from what I understand, based on my conversations with the FBI director, all they know right now is this was an individual who hated people of the Mormon faith. It's an ugly story. This is getting worse by the second. I don't want Mormons being attacked. I don't want anybody being attacked for their faith. I don't want anyone thinking, well, I clearly feel a certain way, and so now the only thing I can do is take it out on these people. I'm not going to tell anybody not to hate me. But the answer is, well, now I engage in violence. You don't like Mormons? Okay. But this is just pure madness. So this may be more of the story. Still doesn't explain what took place in North Carolina, where 3 people were killed by a guy passing by a dockside restaurant on a boat. As more information comes, I'll bring it to you. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. That is something. That is ugly. None of this ends well. How could it? How possibly could it? I'm keeping an eye on C-SPAN. People are taking their seats, although the front 2 rows of seats have been cordoned off. One's going to assume that is for members of the U.S. cabinet and other dignitaries, both from the U.S. side and from the Israeli side. One has to assume that's how it's going to go. I'll bring you what I can of it. What you're seeing is him showing up earlier. He showed up to the White House a little bit after 11 a.m., producer Landon. So no, that is not it right there. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So right now I'm tracking an Amazon package. And I'm realizing there are a couple things some things I want to change in the studio here, including how we remove cigar smoke. So now I'm looking at fans. You guys don't need to know that. You guys don't need to be bothered with what I'm looking for. Are we heading towards civil war? Okay. Follow me here just for a moment. I don't believe we are heading. I come across so negative when I talk about this. I don't believe we're heading. I believe we're in. We're not heading towards danger. We're in it. We're not heading towards violence. We're in it. We're in it. It has started. It started a while ago. The fact that, it's not Lexington Concord, it's shot heard around the world, right? That's not how this works. We're in the thing right now, which is why I have been describing the fact that the only way out is through. But now we're just going to attack Mormons. We're attacking churches, by the way. Holy cow. Churches, Canada's been having this issue with churches being set on fire. This is a true dangerous issue. But on this one, it seems that this doesn't come from the Antifa set, although we might get more information. It doesn't come from the progressive set. This comes from something else, a level of instability that made someone say, I am angry, therefore I will. There's never a way to account for the individual on their own personal vendetta. What you have seen from the left is not necessarily that. It is much more to a very focused thing about Trump, Republicans, conservatives, etc. Bad people with bad intent can still do bad things. And that, while it could be grouped all together with the, oh my gosh, look at the violence, it's its, I don't want to say purpose, that's the wrong word. Its intent is different. Its basis is different. What we see at the Catholic schools, transgender shootings, what we see regarding Charlie Kirk, what we see seeing President Trump regarding President Trump, those all have its same place. They have their same driving forces at play. This could be different, but I don't know if yet we have enough information. I haven't seen a press conference regarding this. And there needs to be a press conference regarding this to give us information. Was there anything known about this guy? Anything at all?
In regards to the next hearing, counsel, on that October 30th date at 10 a.m., it's the court's intent that it be in person if it be the wish of counsel for the defense for Mr. Robinson to be present.
It is, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that is the judge in the case involving the assassin of Charlie Kirk. And they don't want him virtual? Is that what I'm gathering? They want him in the courtroom? His court appearance will be October 30th. And the judge wants to make all hearings public. Oh my. Tony Katz today, guys. Oh my. Okay. We understand what this means. So the court date is scheduled for 10 a.m. Mountain. That would be noon Eastern. And if I understand this right, if indeed, I mean, that day will be public, we'll carry it. I got it. Now I got to ask you. I'm going to have to ask the stations. I'm curious. Can I ask a stupid radio question? We carry this, right? I'm asking. Do we carry the trial? Do we carry the trial? Yes or no? Where's David Wood? So David Wood is my program director there in Indianapolis. I'm curious what everybody else thinks. I'm curious what all the affiliates think. Do you carry the trial? And before you say yes, can we at least ask ourselves what it is that this means? There's a lot of procedural stuff that's going to be going on. They're gonna share it all? Is that right? Am I hearing that right? It's all going to be public? I am a bit surprised. I'm a bit surprised by this. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you carry the whole thing. Part of me thinks that you don't have an option. Oh, now I'm curious. Let me know what you think. On Twitter X at Tony Katz, Tony at TonyKatz.com. I'm curious what my stations think. Very, very interested in what it is, just curious as to what they think. I mean, in the end, the decision's mine. Decision is mine to do as I see fit. But that is something else right there. Meanwhile, we're still waiting for this presser to the extent that it'll start on time. It hasn't yet. Between Donald Trump and the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. James Comey indicted, former head of the FBI, lying and obstruction of justice. A great write-up from Byron York regarding James Comey's dishonesty. James Comey is dishonest. And as I've said before, and I'll say again, fathers, do not let your sons grow up to be like James Comey. You don't want to think well of James Comey. There's no respect to be had for the former FBI director. None. Same thing is true with Andrew McCabe. Same thing is true with Peter Strzok. Same thing is true with Adam Kinzinger. He has nothing to do regarding Comey, but I always think it's worthy to remind people, don't let your kids grow up and be like Adam Kinzinger or Keith Olbermann. I have a list. Of people you shouldn't let your kids grow up to be like. Maisie Hirono, if you have daughters, don't let your kids be like Maisie Hirono. Absolutely, positively not. Sunny Hostin, nope, that's right out there. Oh, gosh, that list is growing, by the way. That list is growing. But it's a great write-up from Byron York regarding the duplicitousness of James Comey. And he goes through the list. Comey, while Trump was still president-elect, used a briefing on Russian election influence efforts as a pretext to ambush Trump with that story that there was a videotape of Trump and Russian hookers and urination and all that stuff that had happened in Trump Tower in New York. That's where the briefing happened. Comey said, "Can I have a few minutes alone with the president-elect?" And then Comey told Trump there's an accusation that the Russians had recorded Trump with prostitutes in a motel room in Moscow in 2013. And Trump wasn't sure whether or not Comey was setting him up. It was part of Crossfire Hurricane, this opportunity to question the key figure in the investigation under the guise of a security briefing. So let's start with where we start. Comey's like, "Mr. President, I have to tell you something. You're not going to believe it. Here's this tape that they say they have. What do you think of that?" But he wasn't actually interested. He wasn't giving a briefing. He was trying to get information without letting the president know. The president-elect at the time. He leaves the meeting, gets into an FBI car. There's a laptop right there, and he writes the version of what Trump said. This is for analysis by the Crossfire Hurricane team. By the way, Byron York, who I think is a smart dude, wrote a book about this in 2020. Comey wrote that as he prepared for the meeting, he was concerned that Trump would assume I was pulling a J. Edgar Hoover, unquote. After extensive discussions with my team, I decided I could assure the president-elect that the FBI was not currently investigating him, even though that's clearly what was going on. So from the start, from the beginning, from the word go, you have from James Comey this duplicitousness. That alone makes him not only disqualifying as the FBI director, but as trustworthy on any level, anywhere. So the Trump Tower session that Comey had with them is leaked to the press a few days later. CNN reported that the nation's top intelligence officials presented Trump with a compromising bit of personal information. And it came from, quote, a former British intelligence operative whose past work with the U.S. intelligence officials was considered to be credible. But that guy, that's the Christopher Steele conversation, not credible. So now the question is the president of the United States under FBI investigation? So here's Comey speaking privately to members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. And Comey told the senators that Trump was not under investigation, but it's clear he went there with the desire to get information so it could lead to an investigation. Therefore, he was. This is only a start of the story. I'm telling you, this is a fantastic write-up from Byron York on this subject. Really, really valuable and important. Because there's much to the James Comey indictment, where people are going to say this is the abuse of the DOJ, this is the abuse of the FBI. I've never seen anything abused like this. Well, what about all the abuse of Trump? Well, that was okay because we were saving democracy. It's always their line. Comey is not a good guy, has been known not to be a good guy, and absolutely is not somebody who can be trusted on any level. Any level. This is just one more piece of the story. If Trump and Netanyahu meet, I'll bring it to you what I can of it. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. There's no chance this press conference is starting anytime soon. Yeah, it just got moved. It happens. It happens. I do what I can. But I'm not in charge of when the press conference gets moved. It is not my fault. Unrelated question. Does anybody actually use LinkedIn? I'm on it. We live stream there. But as a matter of business growth, does it get used? Like when people want to connect with me, and I don't know if I've ever reached out to anybody and said, hey, how do we do business together? Is there a way? I'm asking because I'm curious. I'm curious as to what people do with this. Or is it just you collect people and then you simply send out enough mass emails in hopes that it becomes something? Is that what you do? I don't know. I'm there. Okay, well, let us do business. I don't even know what that means. I don't let it. Are you trying to use the chat room now as your LinkedIn? But advertising how, Molly? What am I like? What am I supposed to put up? Right? I have stuff that I could advertise, but what am I putting up? Like, hey, here's Tony. I don't know what I'm advertising. Great show to sponsor. 9 bajillion people are doing that. So what is the way above the din to be able to reach the person who might actually be interested? That's what I'm saying. Advertising, that's one thing, but advertising to whom and for what purpose? Isn't that more the question? Seems like more the question. We're coming back. All right. Very, very good. Excellent, Smithers. So, of course, the Trump Netanyahu presser got delayed. Of this, I am not surprised. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. Be sure to subscribe. Moved everything over to the Substack, and it's been going just beautifully. I really do appreciate you guys all being there and subscribing and being a part of it. You may have seen the story of this woman. She's a YouTuber, which means she creates YouTube content. She's pro-life. And she's on the streets of New York. And she is speaking to a woman. And conversation starts kind of normal. And then this woman doesn't like, I guess, what the interviewer is asking and starts punching her in the face. It's on camera. There will be no criminal charges because Alvin Bragg, the district attorney in Manhattan, yes, that Alvin Bragg, who went after Donald Trump, failed to meet the legal deadline. She was facing second-degree assault charge. This took place in April. The court dismissed the case in July after Bragg failed to turn over evidence to the defense team on time. I mean, that's insane. Now the YouTuber Savannah Craven Antao, Antao, she's now looking to sue this woman directly. How is it possible that Bragg was unable to get this done? One has to assume that it was purposeful. One has to assume that information wasn't shared because, well, he didn't want this woman to have to deal with anything. I continue to make the argument that the incapability, the incompetence is not a bug, but a feature of bringing in the worst of the worst people of an ideological nature as opposed to a skill set. Now, this is going to bring us to a conversation about the Iowa superintendent in the Des Moines schools, who was able to have a job even though he was in the country illegally as the superintendent. In order for his deportation in 2024, when Biden was president, he ran from ICE. He had a gun on him. He already had a gun charge in Pennsylvania. He had $3,000 in cash on him. He had a knife on him. And the liberals who hired him are telling us that we need to be engaged in radical empathy. And we need to get all the data. And we need to stop with the misinformation because children are being affected. Liberal women, I would usually say liberal white women, but not all these women are white. Liberal women are a serious issue. I'll get to that story, but there is another story And people may be mad at this guy. I think he did the right thing. I'll explain. His name is Charles Tillman. He goes by the nickname Peanut. He was part of the Chicago Bears. After he left the Bears, after he left football, I believe, he joined the FBI. He spent 7 years in the FBI. And he recently stated that he left the FBI because of what's happening with the Trump administration on immigration. Some of the things they're doing, I personally didn't agree with, such as immigration. I didn't agree with how the administration came in and tried to make individuals do things against their beliefs. It didn't sit right. An example being immigration, he says. Everybody was told you're going after the most dangerous criminals. But what you see on TV and what was actually happening, people weren't going after that. Personally, that didn't sit right with me. That didn't sit right by my conscience. I was in a different position because of my previous career. I made enough money where I could just walk away and say, you know what? I'm good. Right. Now, you could disagree with this guy all you wish. But he didn't say, you know what? I'm going to stay in the FBI and try and usurp the FBI and the president of the United States. He said, this isn't for me. I'm going to walk away now. The fact that I disagree with him on illegal immigration is simply one part of this story. But he left. He said, this isn't for me. I can go. I can afford to go. I'm done here. Good for you. The fact that we disagree, we disagree. But I don't want to be a part of this. I'm walking away. That's fine. We all make that decision. Honestly, you can be mad at him all you want, but better than trying to, usurp the FBI and the president and those who voted for him. This is Tony Katz today. Guys, I'm not sure when the presser is beginning, but the live stream, I gotta wrap that up. I gotta wrap it up. It so happens. It hasn't started yet. It's going to get pushed back again. I'll bring you all the clips tomorrow. I will bring you everything tomorrow. I appreciate you guys being here. Don't forget to go to TonyKatz.com and subscribe. Be a part of it. If you can get it for free. If you want to be a paid subscriber, I greatly appreciate that. It's totally up to you. It's your world. It's your life. You live it. Go to TonyKatz.com. Subscribe today. Immediately, if not sooner. Do that right now. Subscribe at TonyKatz.com. We want to grow this very, very large. So if you would, I'd greatly, greatly appreciate that. And I will be back tomorrow. Right? We've got a pretty good day tomorrow scheduled for you. Appreciate you. Subscribe. It's worth it. Thank you, Tony. There are videos I put out for subscribers. There's this, there's that. It's good stuff, and it's growing great. Growing great. So thank you. I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on, tomorrow. I'll catch you tomorrow. Take care, guys.